Hey, hey, me again, Kimberly at 6:33 Wake Up and sharing the life and the message. Today you have a little different background because I just want to sit in my rocking chair. My rocking chair is definitely my comfort zone, and I just feel like I needed it this morning. So hope you enjoy. See this back here. This is all where this is my cat's gym, fun place to live. And anyways, who knows? They might appear. So this morning, I pray for you and I pray for me that we have eyes to see, ears to hear, hearts to receive and react for that which He has for us today. And in my neighborhood, it's foggy this morning. Yesterday, we had a high of like 16 degrees here and off and on sunny. But this morning, it was like only 5 degrees when I got up. So I guess that's what creates the fog, the difference of temperatures. See, in my mind, in my spirit, whatever you want to call it, immediately goes to the fog that it can create when we are in a church, a spiritual atmosphere, and we go out into the world and we have this atmosphere and we have all these voices saying what they believe and what's right, and everybody has a right. And we have the Bible and the church. And sometimes that can create a fog, the difference in those two temperatures, the spirit realm, even in churches, what this church moves in, operates in, how it functions, how it has services, and what it does can be very different from what this church does. And sometimes, if we just try to figure those things out with our 2x4 mind, that can create a fog, the difference in those two temperatures. And that just, came to me this morning as I'm talking about the fog. But something to think about and contemplate, that we need to be sure of what we believe. And it's okay if not everybody believes the same. So this morning, we're going to continue in Galatians chapter 1. I'm going to pick up at verse 6. And Paul is writing, and he's, writing to the Galatians here. And he says, I can't believe your fickleness, how easily you have turned traitor to him who called you by the grace of Christ by embracing a variant message. It is not a minor variation, It is a completely other and alien message, a no message lie about God. Those who are provoking this agitation among you are turning the message of Christ on its head. Let me be blunt. If any one of us, even an angel from heaven, were to preach something other than what we preached originally, let him be cursed. I said it once, I'll say it again. If anyone, regardless of reputation or credentials, preaches something other than what you received originally, let him be cursed. Do you think I speak this strongly in order to manipulate crowds, or curry favor with God, or get popular applause? If my goal was popularity, I wouldn't bother being Christ's slave. Know this, I am most emphatic here, friends. This great message I delivered to you is not mere human optimism. I didn't receive it through the traditions, and I wasn't taught it in some school. I got it straight from God, received the message directly from Jesus Christ. I'm sure that you've heard the story of my earlier life when I lived in the Jewish way. In those days, I went all out in persecuting God's church. I was systematically destroying it. Excuse me. I was so enthusiastic about the traditions of my ancestors that I advanced head and shoulders above my peers in my career. Even then, God had designs on me. Why? When I was still in my mother's womb, he chose and called me out of sheer generosity. Now he has intervened and revealed his son to me so that I might joyfully tell non-Jews about him. Now, what is our wake up here today? What do we get out of this? Well, when I read this, immediately what stirs up in my heart is, first of all, how I was raised and what I believe now are different. How what I believe and how I live is pretty different than the people around me. You know, most of my acquaintances, most of the people that are in my sphere of influence, my community, um, you know, they don't see or believe life maybe the way that I do. And does that influence me? Am I trying to gain popularity? Well, I'm going to tell you that there are times in my life where it did influence me. I can remember as a very new Christian that I said before, I live in a tourist um, seasonal town, and I had gotten, as a new Christian, I'd gotten a job in a restaurant, and there's other staff there and whatever, and you know, I was, I think I was like, only a believer of a few months, and I was trying is not the word. God was changing my life. And when I found myself more with people who were not like I wanted to be as a new believer, I found myself being influenced by their conversation, by their thinking, by their talk, by their reactions. And it really affected me. I was not yet um, grounded in my faith that I could be in such a place and stand out like Christ. So, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to our family. It didn't make sense to me and my husband. It didn't make sense to our finances, and it didn't make sense to the people in the restaurant. But I quit my job, and because I chose Jesus. And maybe that is was a bold move, but I have quit so many things in my life before I became a believer. And what I mean by that is I was going to, go do this, and I started and it was really hard, so I stopped and I gave it up. And this I wanted to commit to. You know, it wasn't the job that I wanted to commit to. It was Jesus that I wanted to commit to. It was this life of faith that I wanted to commit to. And I didn't really care about the popularity. I didn't care that everybody agreed with me. I didn't care that it didn't make sense. I needed to be right with Him, Jesus, and I needed to be right with my husband. And if you learn to know me at all, I am very, very cautious about those two things. That to be doing what the Lord wants me to be doing, and to be under the authority of my husband. Those are very, very important. And I know that after 35 years, I've stuck with this. God, and there are a few times that I have wanted to run away and from persecution, from rejection, from judgment, from life, from, you know, the things that I thought were going to happen didn't happen that way. And then there's feelings of failure and stuff. So there are times that I have run, and but I never completely once in 35 years gave up my faith. And I could have a very, very long list of other things in my life that I've changed my mind about and that I've given up. But this, something happens, like I say quite often, something happens on the inside of you. There is a supernatural activation that connects you in a way that is indescribable, and that the love of God is there. It's always there. You can't run from Him, you can't hide from Him, and you can be real with Him. You know, there are times that I've been angry with God. There are times that I have been disappointed. Times I've been like, I'm doing your part. Why are you not doing your part? And it's okay to be real with Him, open, honest, transparent, and vulnerable with God above anyone else. No. And we come to the place in our faith, or we should come to our place in the faith, that we know that God is God. Now, tomorrow I'm going to talk about, I think, tomorrow I'm going to talk about a little bit further about finding that place, maybe, that we know that we know. Today, I want to say that if my goal was popularity, I wouldn't bother being Christ's slave. Because that is what I am challenging you today to look at your life of faith. And are we persuaded? Are we swayed, or, change our behavior, our talk, our beliefs when we are out in the world, or we're in places of faith in church? Of course, it is not good to get into arguments. And I am not saying that you always should stand up and argue your point of faith. In fact, just like Jesus, sometimes it's harder, at least for me, to be quiet, because I don't always need to make my point, but I do always need to love. So, Paul says, if my goal was popularity, I wouldn't bother being Christ's slave. I want to be Christ's slave. I want to please Him. I want to keep that peace and that joy within myself, and knowing that I am right with Him more than I care about what the world or others think about me. So that's our wake up today. So I bless you, and I pray that you know you are blessed, and that you go out and be a blessing. Bye-bye.